Hi! In the previous section, we learned how to create a vanilla walk cycle. So, in this section, we'll move one final step further and create another walk cycle, only this time, the character will be carrying something that will be influencing the way he walks. That way, we'll move closer towards creating a more personalized walk, not as general as the previous one. We will still have the same process of creating 4 main poses: contact, lowest, passing, and highest, just as we did with the vanilla walk cycle. But we'll have to adjust the shape of the poses a little bit according to what the character is carrying, and also change the timing. Before we can animate that, we need to learn how to attach a prop to our character in the right way, and depending on the specific case, there are different ways of doing that. In order for the object to move along with the character, we need to create a system of constraints. I will show you a few different ways of doing that, and you should try to follow along with me. Even though it can seem difficult at first, after a few tries you should be able to grasp the idea. Also, don't worry if it may seem that you did everything the same way I did, but the system's not working. Creating constraints is a meticulous process, and you might miss one small step, which is difficult to catch. So, just start over. The more you practice, the easier it'll get. First, let's go over our scene setup as we usually do, and also the rig, since in this section we will finally have a chance to take a look at the difference between IK and FK hand controls and how they work. On the right, we have our display layers. Here we have a few props that are hidden for now: a sword, cane, and an axe. Then we have our controls, and the mesh of our character set to reference mode, so we won't select it by mistake. Let's go up top and turn off the selectability options. In the Show menu, let's turn everything off except for the NURBS curves, polygons, and locators. Okay, now let's take a look at the rig. Almost everything is just as we're used to. At the bottom, we have the base control for placing the character in the scene. Then we have feet controls, which we can move and rotate and use the foot roll channel to lift up the heel or the toes. We also have a separate toes control if we need to rotate them independently and add some overlap. Then we have the knee controls so that we can change the direction our knees are facing. Hips, which we can rotate. Waist control for positioning the weight of our body by translating it and also rotating it. Chest control. Head. And finally, the arms. The arms are currently still set to FK mode, and you're already familiar with the way they're positioned, by rotating the shoulder, then elbow, finally the wrist and fingers. Here we have a new control called Arm IK Switch, which lets you switch your arm system from FK to IK mode. Just use this IK-FK switch channel and set it to 1 if you need the IK mode, or 0 if you need the FK. Once you set your arm to IK mode, you get one main control for positioning the hand by moving it and rotating it, and a small elbow control which lets you change the direction your elbow is facing, similar to how you control the knees. You can have both arms in the same mode, or each of them different. It really depends on the specific situation and what you need. So, in the next lesson, I'll demonstrate to you what those situations might be and how to set up different types of constraints.